The soft hum of my bedroom lamp cast a warm glow over the room, highlighting the cluttered shelves of books, scattered clothes, and a faint trail of my past experiments with makeup and outfits. My name is Alex, and for as long as I can remember, I've lived a life split between two realities. By day, I'm the average college student. Messy hair, hoodies, sneakers, and the occasional awkward social blunder. By night, well, that's when I let my secret side breathe. Crossdressing wasn't a hobby I flaunted. It wasn't something I posted about on social media or shared with anyone. It was mine, a private thrill, a personal exploration. There's an excitement in slipping into someone entirely different, feeling soft fabrics, the delicate brush of makeup, the subtle click of heels against the floor. But there was also a fear, a constant worry that someone might discover this hidden part of me. My life was complicated enough. I had Emma, my girlfriend, the one person who knew me the most, yet knew nothing about this secret side. Our relationship was sweet, loving, and grounded in trust, yet I constantly feared that she might never accept the part of me that yearned for feminine expression. And then there was Sarah, my best friend, who had no idea about the nights I spent exploring this other identity. Sarah, with her wild collection of dresses, flawless makeup, and daring sense of fashion, was the type of person whose wardrobe alone could send any shy guy like me into a spiral of longing and inspiration. It was on a lazy Saturday evening that my life, or at least my quiet little routine, took an unexpected turn. Sarah had left her apartment in a rush, late for a date, I later heard, and in her hurried exit, she'd forgotten something crucial: the little violet dress I had been admiring for weeks. My eyes lingered on it, draped carelessly over the chair, the delicate fabric shimmering under the dim light. My pulse quickened as I imagined it on me, the fabric hugging my body, the hem swaying gracefully with each step. A whisper of temptation ran through my mind. Just for a moment, no one will know. My conscience protested, but the thrill was irresistible. I slipped the dress off the chair, running my hands over the silky material, feeling its smooth texture against my skin. The excitement was immediate, accompanied by a sharp pang of fear. What if Sarah came back early? What if Emma found out? Every rational thought was countered by the tantalizing allure of seeing myself in a world I had only ever dreamed of exploring fully. I locked my bedroom door, the soft click of the lock echoing in the small space. My reflection in the mirror seemed to stare back at me with anticipation, curiosity, and just a touch of mischief. The lavender dress felt cold in my hands at first, but as I slid it over my body, warmth spread, an intoxicating mix of excitement and vulnerability. My pulse thudded as the fabric settled into place, molding perfectly to my frame. Next came the makeup. Foundation first, blending carefully over my cheeks and jawline, smoothing out imperfections. I applied a hint of blush, mascara that made my eyes feel larger, more expressive, and a subtle lipstick that added the finishing touch. The transformation was instant. When I looked in the mirror, I wasn't just Alex. I was someone else entirely. Elegant, soft, alluring, and completely unrecognizable to anyone who knew me. The thrill of it all made my hands shake slightly, a combination of excitement and fear. I knew I was playing with fire. If Sarah returned unexpectedly, or if Emma came over without warning, I could be caught. Yet the desire to see myself in this new skin, to explore this hidden identity, was too powerful to resist. Even as I admired my reflection, I felt a rush of power and vulnerability entwined together. Every movement in the dress was new. Every sway of my hips, the click of heels against the floor, the gentle brush of the fabric against my skin. It was intoxicating, but also nerve-wracking. I was acutely aware that my secret was fragile, easily shattered by a knock at the door or a sudden text from Emma. And then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed. A message from Sarah, teasing, "Can't wait to see you later. Don't touch my dress," winking face. My stomach dropped and my heart raced. She had no idea. Yet somehow, the message made the thrill even more intense. I was living on the edge, caught between the temptation of exposure and the delicious secrecy of this stolen moment. I glanced around my room, seeing the scattered props of my dual life. Shoes lined neatly against the wall, a wig resting on a stand, brushes and makeup spread across the desk. Each item was a symbol of who I was behind closed doors, a world no one else could see. And tonight, that world was mine to explore, even if only for a fleeting moment. As the evening deepened, I realized that this was no longer a simple experiment. It had become a test of identity, courage, and secrecy. How far could I push the boundaries before I was discovered? Could I fully embrace this new persona without fear? Or would the thrill come crashing down the moment someone saw the real me, the Alex who had dared to steal a glimpse of something forbidden? I took a deep breath, feeling the delicate lavender fabric against my skin, the subtle click of the heels on the floor, and the soft brush of the wig as I adjusted it. I knew that once I stepped further into this world, there would be no turning back, not entirely. And somewhere deep down, a part of me thrilled at the thought that, very soon, the world, or at least a select few, would want to see more than just the stolen dress. The moment I stepped into the mirror's reflection as my transformed self, my heart thudded like a drum. The lavender dress clung to my frame, soft and delicate, highlighting curves I had only ever imagined. My wig cascaded down my shoulders, and the subtle makeup made my eyes feel larger, more expressive, almost mesmerizing. I was no longer just Alex. I was a version of myself I had longed to explore. But alongside the thrill came fear. My mind raced with questions. What if Sarah comes back early? What if Emma gets a text from me and suspects something? Every rational thought warned me that this was risky, yet every nerve in my body tingled with excitement. I paced slowly in my room, testing the way the heels clicked against the floor. Each step was a reminder of the new identity I was inhabiting. The sound echoed slightly in the quiet apartment, making me acutely aware of how exposed I was. My pulse quickened not just from fear, but from exhilaration. For the first time, I felt truly seen by myself. I crouched to adjust the hemline and noticed the soft brush of fabric against my thighs. The sensation was foreign, electric, and deeply intoxicating. Every small motion reminded me how fragile my secret was. I had never let anyone witness this side of me, and yet here I was, teetering on the edge of discovery. I turned slowly, admiring the reflection from multiple angles. The dress flowed effortlessly, the heels giving me an elegant sway. I brushed my hands down the sides of my body, feeling the smooth fabric and imagining the eyes of strangers on me. I experimented with my posture, walking as I thought a girl like this might walk, confident, poised, delicate. The makeup I had applied earlier now seemed perfect. I lightly touched my cheekbones, marveling at how different, yet natural, they felt. Lipstick pressed to my lips made them feel soft, sensual, and alien at the same time. My hands trembled slightly, not just from excitement, but from the knowledge that even a small mistake could reveal my secret. As the minutes passed, the fear and thrill blended into something more profound. I felt lighter, freer, and yet more vulnerable than I ever had before. Every glance at the mirror reminded me that this persona was both a reflection of my desires and a fragile mask. I whispered to myself, no one can see this, not yet. But soon, maybe soon. I practiced small expressions, smiling softly, tilting my head, adjusting the wig, each movement heightening my awareness of the duality within me. The excitement was addictive, but the tension never fully left. The stakes were real. One wrong move, and the secret I cherished could be exposed. Hours passed in a mix of playful exploration and nervous anticipation. I experimented with different poses, imagining a world where people would admire this side of me. Then came a sudden knock at the door. My heart leapt. It was just a delivery, I reassured myself, but the sound made me freeze, feeling every inch of the room shrink around me. I tiptoed to peek through the peephole, and relief flooded me when I saw the courier walking away. The near miss made the excitement sharper, more intense. I returned to the mirror and adjusted the dress, aware now that my secret was fragile. The dress, the wig, the makeup, all of it represented a balance between exhilaration and risk. I ran my fingers through the hair once more, feeling the silky strands against my skin, and allowed myself a small, mischievous smile. Curiosity pushed me further. I decided to try taking a few photos, not for posting but just for myself, to capture the moment. The camera in my hand felt heavy with possibility. I experimented with angles, lighting, and expressions, each click of the shutter increasing my adrenaline. I caught glimpses of myself I had never seen, and the thrill of being both photographer and subject was intoxicating. I laughed softly, realizing how daring I was being. The thought of someone discovering these photos sent a delicious shiver down my spine. Yet, the risk only made me bolder. Each pose, each smile, each tilt of my head strengthened the persona I had created, merging Alex with the allure of the girl in the dress. Just as I began to feel fully comfortable, my phone buzzed again. It was a text from Emma. "Hey, wanna hang out later?" Got a free evening winking face panic shot through me. Emma showing up unexpectedly would destroy the illusion, expose my secret, and maybe even shatter our relationship. My stomach twisted. I glanced at the mirror, imagining how she would react to this version of me. Every movement now carried weight. The camera, the heels, the dress, they weren't just objects. They were props in a delicate performance. I knew that any misstep could expose the dual life I had carefully curated. The adrenaline mixed with fear, making my pulse hammer against my chest. Then came the unmistakable sound of footsteps outside the door. Sarah had returned earlier than expected. My heart lurched. I froze, imagining her reaction if she saw me in her dress, transformed completely. Would she be angry? Amused? Shocked? My mind raced as I clutched the camera, ready to hide it if needed. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but the tension was palpable. Every second stretched endlessly as I prepared to face the unknown. This was the moment where excitement and fear collided, where the thrill of transformation met the high stakes of potential discovery. I glanced one last time at the mirror, seeing Alex and the persona I had created locked in a fragile, exhilarating balance. The lavender dress shimmered under the lamp, heels poised, wig perfectly in place. I was ready, or at least I hoped I was. The moment Sarah's key turned in the lock, my stomach dropped. Every heartbeat was deafening as I clutched the camera to my chest, my lavender dress swaying with the tension of my frozen stance. My reflection in the mirror stared back, Alex, vulnerable, panicked, and the girl in the dress, poised, teasing, alive. Sarah stepped in, humming a tune, oblivious to the storm she had just walked into. My mind raced. Freeze. Don't move. Act natural. I pressed myself against the wall, heels slightly shifting on the hardwood floor. She called out from the living room. "Alex? You home?" The voice was casual, but my pulse pounded in my ears. I considered retreating into my bedroom, hiding the dress and makeup, but the camera in my hand felt heavy with stolen risk. My fingers tightened around it as if it were my lifeline or my downfall. I tiptoed quietly, trying to make my movements as feminine as the persona demanded. My every step was calculated, my eyes flicking to mirrors, surfaces, and shadows. Each reflection reminded me of the double life I was living, and the thrill of possibly being discovered was intoxicating. Sarah's footsteps grew closer. I froze, holding my breath. The soft swish of fabric from my dress and the faint click of heels could betray me at any moment. My chest tightened, and I realized how delicate this secret was, how easily it could shatter. Then Sarah paused, tilting her head curiously toward the hall. "Wait, is that your voice?" she asked. My pulse spiked. I tried to cover, muttering a quick, "Yeah, just practicing lines for drama class," hoping the excuse sounded casual. Sarah raised an eyebrow, not entirely convinced. She stepped closer, and the room seemed to shrink around me. I realized the camera strap had slipped, catching slightly on the hem of the dress. My heart skipped. One tug and it would fall, or worse, reveal what I had been doing. Every second stretched into an eternity. My legs trembled under the weight of the heels, my hands slick with sweat. The dress felt like a fragile shell protecting a secret I could barely contain. I imagined Sarah's reaction if she saw the makeup, the wig, the camera, everything that had transformed me into the girl she had never met. I adjusted my stance, attempting to appear calm. My breathing was shallow, heart hammering. Every sense was heightened. The subtle rustle of fabric, the faint scent of my perfume, the soft creak of the floorboards. My double identity demanded perfection, or exposure would be immediate. Just as Sarah leaned closer, her gaze drifting toward my reflection in the hallway mirror, I caught the image of myself from the corner of my eye. Alex on one side, poised, elegant, and entirely unrecognizable as the shy, average guy she knew. The duality hit me in a visceral wave, my secret life shimmering dangerously close to being revealed. I felt my wig slip slightly from its pins, a soft movement that felt like a warning bell. My pulse raced. I reached up subtly, fixing it without breaking eye contact. It was a minor thing, but in that suspended moment, it symbolized the fragility of everything I had built. One small slip, and the illusion would crumble. Just as I regained composure, my phone buzzed again. Another message, but this one was from Emma. "Can I drop by?" I have a surprised, smirking face, my stomach twisted. Emma arriving meant certain exposure. I needed to act fast. Before I could hide or change, there was another knock at the door, a neighbor asking to borrow something. My mind raced. Two potential discoveries simultaneously. I was caught in a storm of tension, with every move scrutinized by circumstance. In the chaos, I realized that my adrenaline was overpowering fear. The thrill of possibly being discovered, the danger intertwined with excitement, pushed me to move with more confidence than I felt. I adopted the persona fully. Posture, walk, gestures, and it was as if the girl in the dress was taking control, holding Alex's fears in check. I handed over a borrowed item to the neighbor, my smile measured, voice calm. Internally, my mind was racing. Every second counts. Don't falter. Don't let them see. The dual life I had cultivated was balanced on a knife's edge, and I was teetering dangerously. Moments later, Sarah glanced toward my room, her curiosity piqued. "Alex, are you in there?" she asked. My pulse surged. I needed to hide or distract. I grabbed the camera, pretending to be taking a photo of the living room, casual, natural. "Just testing angles," I muttered, hoping it sounded believable. Sarah's expression wavered between suspicion and amusement. The tension was unbearable. Every muscle in my body tensed as I realized how easily this moment could collapse into disaster. Then, Sarah gasped softly. My heart leapt. She had seen the shimmer of the dress in the hallway mirror. I froze, caught between panic and exhilaration. The secret I had cherished, the thrill of living this double life, was hanging by a thread. The mirror reflected two selves, Alex, terrified, and the girl in the dress, poised, defiant, alive. For a heartbeat, I wondered if Sarah would reject me, laugh, or something else entirely. The uncertainty electrified the air. Peak suspense. At that precise moment, Emma's key turned in the lock. My chest felt as if it might explode. Two people, two potential discoveries, one fragile secret. The adrenaline surged, mixing panic with exhilaration. The room was a stage, and I was the actor performing the most dangerous role of my life. I adjusted the dress, fixed the wig, and took a deep, shaky breath. Every fiber of my being screamed to maintain the facade, but fear clawed at me mercilessly. The stakes had never been higher. The sound of the door unlocking was like a hammer pounding against my chest. Emma stepped inside, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, holding a small package in her hands. At the same time, Sarah lingered behind, her gaze flicking toward my bedroom door, the shimmer of the lavender dress catching her eye in the hallway mirror. Time seemed to slow. My pulse thundered in my ears, the camera still clutched tightly against my chest. The delicate balance I had maintained for hours, Alex versus the girl in the dress, was on the verge of collapse. My heart pounded, legs trembling beneath the weight of heels, fingers slick with sweat. Emma's eyes widened slightly, her lips parting in surprise. "Alex, what's going on?" Her voice was soft, teasing, and filled with curiosity, but I could hear the underlying tension, the hint of suspicion. I opened my mouth, searching for words, but none came out. Sarah stepped closer, tilting her head, lips pressing together in disbelief. "Wait, is that my dress?" Her voice trembled with a mixture of shock, amusement, and uncertainty. I froze, torn between the desire to explain, to retreat, and the thrill of letting them see this side of me. My dual identity stood exposed in a single, fragile moment. Alex, terrified of judgment, and the girl in the lavender dress, defiant, elegant, and alive. The camera slipped slightly from my grip, dangling dangerously. I reached to catch it, my movements awkward but deliberate, each second stretching endlessly. Emma's eyes flicked between me and the dress, a flicker of understanding, and something else I couldn't quite name, crossing her face. Sarah's gaze hardened slightly, curiosity morphing into expectation. You actually wore it?" she whispered, a mixture of disbelief and intrigue. I swallowed hard, my voice catching. I just wanted to see how it felt. The confession hung in the air like a fragile thread, vulnerable to being torn apart by judgment or laughter. The tension in the room was suffocating. Emma took a hesitant step closer, her expression unreadable. Sarah leaned forward slightly, eyes wide, scrutinizing every detail. The makeup, the wig, the way the dress clung to my frame. In that suspended moment, my mind raced. Could I explain everything? Could I survive this exposure without losing the trust, love, and friendship that I valued? Or was I about to shatter everything I had carefully balanced? Then, the camera fell from my grip entirely, hitting the floor with a soft thunk. Both Emma and Sarah's eyes followed the motion, and I realized that there was no hiding anymore. Not from them, not from myself. A single, shared silence filled the room. Time stretched, heavy and pregnant with possibility. Would they laugh? Be angry? Or something else entirely? My heart pounded, each beat echoing like a drum in the quiet apartment. I took a small, trembling step backward, clutching the dress, hoping my next words wouldn't shatter the fragile tension. Emma's gaze met mine, and for a heartbeat, everything hung in balance. My secret life, my desires, and the fear of rejection all poised on the edge of revelation. Then, the screen of my phone lit up again, a notification, a message I hadn't seen until now. The glow illuminated my trembling hands, highlighting the double life I had been hiding. I hesitated to look, afraid of what new danger or excitement it might bring. As the camera lens reflected the tension in my eyes, I realized something crucial. Nothing would ever be the same again. The secret I had cherished, the thrill of transformation, the fear of exposure, it had all converged in this single, fragile moment. And then, just as I was about to speak, the screen of my phone revealed a shocking image. An unexpected visitor had captured a photo of me in the dress from the street below. My heart skipped a beat. Emma gasped. Sarah's eyes widened. And I stood frozen, caught between exhilaration and terror, knowing that the world, or at least a select few, had just glimpsed the side of me I had fought so hard to keep hidden. The apartment was silent, heavy with unspoken words, judgment, and curiosity. I swallowed hard, my mind racing through every possible outcome. One thing was clear. My life had changed forever. Would they accept me? Would my secret ruin my friendships, my relationship, or my own sense of self? Or would it open a door to something I had never dared to imagine? And with that, the scene froze in tension, unresolved, leaving everything, trust, desire, and identity, hanging by a fragile thread.